July 16th council meeting for the city of Columbiana. And I'm going to go ahead and put the agenda up here and give you an opportunity to take a look at that. But in the meantime, I'll ask Councilman Rustin to lead us in the invocation.
Sure, let us pray. To God, we come to you tonight, Lord, just thanking you for all the many blessings you've given us in the city and throughout this year and what's yet to come. God, I ask you, Lord, for a special just a prayer on our country tonight, God, and what the events that we've experienced the last few days, Lord, and just I ask you, Lord God, just be protective of all of our leaders and all of our citizens throughout the country, and Lord, just let us just get right with one another and be friends and family with everybody, Lord, and protect them all. God, I ask you, Lord, just be with the city and protect those people that were in it and make it go on a day-to-day basis. And Lord, just thank you so much for the opportunity just to join as a group tonight. I ask, Lord, be with the things that are discussed, be for the benefit of the city. In your name we pray. And also, Lord, we just ask you for a little rain. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, if you guys will stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while you're continuing to look over the agenda, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lillard. Mizell.
Here.
Weston.
Here.
King. Here. Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Mitchell.
Here. Okay, so while you're looking at this, we've got a little bit of an unusual circumstance. We don't do this normally, but from time to time we have. We actually have two public hearings tonight. So we'll go through some of the basic items on the agenda, and then we will suspend this council meeting, and we will do our two public hearings, and we're going to do them back to back. We have one that's based on some city abatements on either demolition or remediation of a particular property, and once that public hearing is completed, we will go into the next one, which deals with the rezoning of property. And then once we're complete with the public hearings, we'll reconvene the council meeting and we'll go through and take up consideration of a resolution on the demolition or remediation and take up the issue of ordinances for the rezoning and then go through the rest of the agenda. So a little bit different than. And the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, where we will approve the minutes of the last council meeting for July the 9th, which was last week. Members of the council have had an opportunity they've received the minutes, they've had an opportunity to review them. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? If there's no additions or corrections, let the record show that the minutes were approved by unanimous consent. And we'll start in with our department reports with the police department. Chief?
Okay, so everything's going good with the police department. We're on schedule with all of our stoplight stuff. Issues and concerns. School starts back in August, so again, please watch for kids, traffic, officers doing school traffic. I actually think they're going to try and put somebody at the elementary school this year. You know, we've moved them from kind of staying in the roadway off to the side of the roadway. And I think Sasha might actually stick somebody out there, at least for the first few days, to kind of get the new parents accustomed to what's going on as far as the flow of school traffic. The only other thing is active shooter training is at Shelby County High School, July the 24th at 8 a.m. Anybody wants to come and join, participate, watch, whatever, come and hang out with us. Cops and Cookies is still going on, so we got one this Thursday and one July the 25th. And then the last thing in July will be the 31st, Police and Popsicles. I'll be out of town, but Sasha is going to be taking some of the officers going to different subdivisions, apartment complexes, and things like that, passing out popsicles to the kiddos.
What day does school start back?
August 6th, 5th.
Monday.
5th?
Wow, that's early.
Yeah, it's real early.
Kids come on the 8th, I believe.
Yeah, teachers start that first that week, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
real early.
gosh.
Real early.
They've lost a whole month.
Used to be after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. We had it back good back then, didn't we?
Well, that was the question I had for you, was when was it start back, so I'm glad that we got that answered. Any other questions for the chief?
What time is that active shooter training? You know what time it is?
We're gonna start at 8 o'clock. We'll be meeting at the, community center.
Rec building?
Yeah, rec building. Is where we'll be meeting, and then typically what we do is we have the officers meet, and we'll break them up into the groups we wanna put them in, and we'll actually dispatch them. We'll have somebody call our dispatch, which will be at the school. They'll dispatch the officers from the call that they get. Hey, we just received a call from the office, they said such person described is in such and such hallway, possible active shooter situation, and they'll be responsible for going, finding that area, finding the person, and dealing with the situation. There should be 4 scenarios. One is gonna be a single hostage scenario. The other 3, the firearms instructors have laid out, and I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do. We'll try to keep it kind of hush-hush and on a surprise, that way they don't know what to expect. We just want them to react.
And if you just happen to be going to the school, handling business, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening.
Yes. Yes, you might.
Will you have your SRO pre-positioned in the school when you do this exercise, so that it would be like, they're there, something happens, and then the others,
The SRO is gonna be responding just like
they
the
will?
other officers will.
Any other questions for the chief? All right, admin.
Everything's going good in admin. We're working, I've been working with the different departments on their 25 budget. The chart at the bottom is our year-to-date budget. The top section is the general fund, and the bottom is all other funds, and we are looking good to date.
Any questions for the clerk? All right. Municipal court, Judge?
I got, after looking at the way things are trending, as I talked to you about last time, our jail budget is good, but we've been trending down on everything else. And we ran a whole lot of numbers, and our budget is gonna be below what was predicted. I already have dictated it. I'm gonna proof it and put a letter in the mayor's box and in each one of his box with a lot of data on it as to why I think it is what it is. This is not unusual in a time frame that we're dealing with. Unfortunately, Chief cannot ask for a profit and loss statement or 3 years tax return when you arrest somebody to know whether we can collect fines or not. He cannot do that. We are having a hard time collecting our fines because I think everybody understands that the jail has gotten our jail costs up so high, it's very difficult to hold folks in jail, particularly for any length of time. And sometimes you have to because of drugs and alcohol and psychological problems, that sort of thing. We are just having a major difficulty in getting people on our payment plans to pay. I'm not gonna go any less than we've gone. We're just dealing with a societal problem where people are just not doing what they say they're gonna do, because they sign an agreement. I mean, when they agree to a plea agreement, and we give them a payment plan, they sign it, and they leave with it in their hand, and they just don't show up again. And, Chief can't run around and spend all his time collecting fines, I understand that. So we're gonna work on that, and it ebbs and flows through the years, and this has happened before, and it will probably happen again. But I'm telling the council and the mayor, I've written you an extensive letter as to what I think is happening here. The federal courts have basically said, if you have an indigent and they can't pay, it's very difficult to hold somebody for not paying a fine when they don't have any money to begin with. Plus, if they're not paying a fine, they're charging me $50 a day, that's kind of a cat chasing its tail. You can't put somebody in jail and the county charge you $50 a day, and they can't pay their fine anyway. So it's kind of a conundrum. It's kind of a catch-22. we're looking at a lot of different numbers, and I'm put that in my letter, and I'll put it in your box. It'll be in your box on Thursday, just Thursday or Friday, and just kind of take a look at it. And like I say, I'll be happy to discuss it with any of you as to what I think is going on. But I put my thoughts down on it. Driving school continues. We haven't had a lot of opportunity. Just haven't had the category of people that want to do driving school. We've offered it to a few folks, and some people have just flat turned it down. Our next court is next week on Tuesday. It is a trial day. We have two courts, plea day and trial day. Typically, the trial day, we do everything that we don't do on the plea day. Other than that, everything is fine. I mean, it's just, I've been tracking these numbers very carefully. I've been looking at them for the last 2 months. I've been trying to put together some trends and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, our cost is not going down. I mean, we have to pay our help. We have to pay the city employees and that sort of thing. It's amazing how small amount of money we get off of a traffic ticket. Most of it goes to the state. Nothing we can do about that. And so just be prepared. Look at my letter. If you have questions, you know where to find me. I'll be happy to discuss it with anybody at any point, any time. And we're just going to kind of work through it. The jail budget was great. I mean, we're dead on the jail budget, dead on it. But everything else, the collections are just not coming in like they're supposed to. And it is what it is. Chief and I have talked about it. I'm tracking some numbers from him. He's tracking some numbers from me. And we're trying to kind of figure out what's going on here. But again, if you see my letter and have any questions, just give me a call.
What time does court start? 2?
Mm-hmm.
Does court start at 2?
2 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And with the prosecutor and the public defender, they usually get here and try to kind of figure out what they're going to do. If you're going to come to a court, come to the plea day, come to the first court, don't come to the second one, because there's a lot of hurry up and wait in the second one. First one is when we have people actually show up and try to do some business. Is there any questions, or do you want to wait until you see what I write, or any questions or anything of that nature, and I'll be happy to answer them.
So I've noticed the trend, but haven't analyzed it like you've done. So I think it's probably wise to wait until we see
Okay.
your report on there. But, you know, we've talked about this before. We don't write tickets and we don't assess municipal fines as a way to make money for the city. And so it's not an issue of that we're expecting the court on their budget to make money. It deals with forecasting, so we can, you know, plan the city's budget. And of course, I think we've had a lot of it may have had something to do with some of the COVID payments and other things. We had a couple of good years to where you were really collecting the fines, and now we're kind of back to normal again. And so
Well,
it's
and
difficult to predict what people are going to do.
I truly think, Mayor, I know, I'm in the real estate business, that's what I do, but everybody knows that, but my business has trended down because of interest rates, the general decline in the economy, and, you know, under the theory that a rising tide raises all boats, there's the level of economy, the level of the citizenry that we deal with, inflation is killing them. Mm-hmm. And they are struggling, and I believe that. I am sensitive to it. I'm into my second generation of people. People will come in and tell me, you put my daddy in jail. I mean, sorry, 30 years ago. But, you know, that's kind of where we are, I think, on some of the folks, is they're struggling with the economy like a lot of the rest of us are. But anyway, we'll work through it.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Judge.
Anything else for the judge? Okay, thank you. Public Works.
Yes, sir, everything running pretty smooth right now. We continue working on it, working at the new shop, getting a little bit of it done, slowly but surely. Working on our year 25 budget. I hope within, something I forgot to put on there, I hope within the next week or two, we'll be ready to bid all the paving and stuff out. We'll get started on some of those
Right.
paving our streets and stuff.
Right.
Other than that, everything is going as good as we can ask for right now.
Yeah.
Is the paving next in order, next project?
So if we add the shop paving to the paving bid, I think there's obviously a different set of specs for the shop than for the other streets, so. we'll work on that. All right, any questions for Alan?
No, the shop looks good. That whole area looks good.
Yeah.
A lot better than it did.
We get everybody back up there and get things moving, just slow about getting stuff in when they order it.
Looks good.
Okay. Questions, we'll move on. I think the planning commission met.
We did. We approved rezoning, it was something that a, property owner asked to be rezoned from no zoning to A1. We approved that, so it'll come to council August the 20th for another public hearing. And then we accepted 2 applications for rezoning, those are both approved. We'll have our public hearing August the 8th. If that's approved, it'll come to council the end of September.
Okay. Vicki, anything you wanted to add to that?
No, that's what I was looking at. I don't see anything else.
Okay. Any questions? Were there any other boards that met? Okay. All right, this is where we're going to get into the fun part. We are going to suspend our regular council meeting, and we have a process that we follow to do that. So I'm going to read through this script as far as suspending the meeting. So proper notice of the regular scheduled meeting of the Columbiana City Council was given in advance of this public meeting, and the notice remained posted through this scheduled meeting. I will entertain a motion to suspend this regularly scheduled council meeting in order to have a public hearing. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have 2 public hearings, one to deal with abatement issues and the other one to deal with rezoning issues. So is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, so this requires a unanimous vote by consent of the members. So I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Mizell?
Yes.
Rustin?
Yes.
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, so the regular council meeting is currently suspended, and I'm going to call to order this public hearing. So the first public hearing that we're going to deal with deals with abatements. So before we hear from the public, I'm going to open the public hearing for the proposed repair or demolition of 216 Pine Hill Drive. We've got attorney Ben Goldman here, who has assisted the city with this abatement, demolition / remediation process. So I'm going to call on Ben and ask him to introduce this public hearing packet and sort of explain to folks what we're doing here.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be with you tonight. And as far as demolition or repair hearings go, this is my favorite kind, because we have good news for you. You know, there really is no joy except trying to clean up a community if you have to begin a remediation and demolish a building, because, you know, a lot of times while it cleans up a street, it also creates some absence, right? And it creates vacancy where that home used to be. But we have to recommend to you tonight a remediation agreement that's a part of the resolution that you'll be able to take back up when you re-enter session. And but I want to give you some of the information very quickly about what you have in front of you, because the recommendation will be to order the repair or demolition of the property through the resolution, subject to and limited by and conditioned upon the remediation agreement, which is attached to your resolution. The reason we do that is because, demolitions, repairs, abatements are not fast processes. By statute, you have to give about 60 days notice before we get to the hearing here tonight. Then we'd wait a little bit of time, to make sure that everything, all the appeals had run and everything like that. And then we'd have to get the troops out to actually, do a demolition. And it should take a while because we're dealing with people's property interests. And so we want to make sure that at the end of this process, when I recommend this remediation to you, that you'll have a result at the end of the process. The good news is I have a lot of confidence in the remediation, and I'll explain some more about that. But you will not have to restart your proceeding, which is why you order it for demolition or repair. It's not with the idea that we're going to have to, but we won't have to restart the proceedings if, for example, everything fell apart. So, that being said, is Ms. Shippers here tonight? All right, Ms. Shippers, if you stand and for the hearing, just if you give your name and address, and tell them the company that you're with.
Amanda Shippers, address 449 Sweet Gum Road, Calera, Alabama, and we work with Divine Home Services, or we own Divine Home Services. This is here.
Shippers, 449 Sweet Gum, Calera, Alabama, 3504.
All right, thank you. Y'all can have a seat. Is there anybody else with an interest in the property who's here tonight?
It's my home.
Okay.
Michelle Raines.
Yes, Ms. Raines. If you'd stand and, again, state your name and your address.
My name is Michelle Raines. I don't live there, but I own the property of 216 Pine Hill Drive, Columbiana, Alabama.
You have to have a seat. This is if y'all share that amongst yourselves. So, the reason that they're all here is because Ms. Shippers, through her company, has proposed to, have you completed the sale yet? Or no?
Wait.
All right, that's what I thought. So she is prepared to purchase the property. So in this package, you have your typical list pendants, which I know y'all have seen these before. Makes the findings regarding demolition, which you'll find in there, and it shows, and again, because we have this resolved, so I'm not going to go through in detail, but all the ways that we went through publication. And the good news is we did what it was supposed to do, and the people who have an interest in the property are here with you tonight. We have the certificate of publication. There's some photographs that you can review. There is also, what you probably have not seen before in one of these packages, is an acknowledgement and agreement. Now, what this allows, we don't prevent people from selling a property while a demolition has been noticed. But what we do under our ordinance is we require that they give any potential purchaser notice of the list pendants. In other words, we don't want there to be a bait and switch where somebody takes a property and they didn't know about what was happening. Of course, we do what we can by filing the list pendants in probate court to put potential purchasers on notice. But they can only do that with that acknowledgement. So that's in there. The other thing that's in here that's not typically in here is that remediation agreement. So the way the remediation agreement works, there are three things that I spoke with Ms. Shippers about early on in her desire to purchase and to rehab the property. Is one, I want to know, is it technically feasible? So what's your plan for the repairs? Two, can it be accomplished in a reasonable amount of time? Because we don't want to make the rest, let this drag on for another year. This is something that needs to be addressed for the benefit of the neighborhood. And then the third is, do you have the funds on hand to complete the repairs in the time required? And I have not included in your packet, and I don't think it would be appropriate to do so, but I will share with you that Ms. Shippers presented me with sufficient information to show she's provided a bank balance from her account. She's also indicated some of her investors and where she has lines of credit. So I've been able to review that, even though we're not putting that into the packet for you. If you have questions or need to see more, be happy to share it with you, but just ask that it not be made part of the record. So, in the remediation agreement, essentially what it does is it establishes a timeline that those repairs are gonna take place. And so if you look at the remediation agreement, you'll see on the second page, items 1 through 4. A couple of those relate to basically while this is pending, you're gonna make sure you take care of the grass and the weeds. You're gonna keep it, an exterminator treating the property, make sure that this is not a nuisance for the neighbors. And then it also incorporates Exhibit A, which if you look at the end, is her plan for what she plans to do with the property and the time in which she plans to do it. Her plan, if she sticks to it, would be a little bit less than 4 months. What I have proposed, I always like to round up on those times. So we've given her in this through the end of the year, through December 31st, which is should be plenty of time for her to get this done. She's agreed to these terms. She's provided a signed copy to the city that we're holding pending this proceeding tonight. But the bottom line is, and normally if this was a contested matter, we were still trying to really proceed with demolition, I've asked the appropriate municipal official for some testimony and other things. I don't think any of that's necessary tonight, because this is the very best outcome that we can have when we start one of these, because we're actually gonna have an improved property at the end of it. So, are there any questions for me about this?
No, we've done this type of thing before with Bentley, I think Bentley Chainsaw and where we give the opportunity to improve the property. My question would be, is the property gonna be raised, that's there now and rebuilt, or is that structure gonna be, remodeled, so to speak?
No, it won't be raised, and Ms. Shippers, I don't know if you wanna just briefly state what you plan to do with the property.
Well, the first thing is we've gotta get power and water there, and we've got to take care of all the windows, the siding, the roof. We'd like to do all the outside exterior part taken care of first. And then, we'll work our way inside, making sure the bathrooms are adequate, the kitchen's adequate, things like that. So when you mean raised, what?
I mean demolished, basically,
Oh,
yeah.
no, okay, I was like.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
It's got really, really good bones, good structure.
Okay.
You saved worse.
Yeah, we saved one on Mildred Street, so that
Okay.
was way worse than this, so this would be an easy one.
Okay.
It sure doesn't look like it for that.
So,
So, I look forward to that then.
So-
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, if there are no other questions for me, we need to provide an opportunity for others to comment.
Right,
if there are other
right.
questions.
So, is there anyone else in attendance who would like to be heard with any comments on this issue? Okay, if there are no comments for or against, at this time, I'll close the public hearing on the demolition or repair of the abated property. And we will take up the resolution when we reconvene the meeting. So now, we will enter into our next public hearing, which deals with rezoning. I'm not gonna go into all the other things, and we don't need another motion because we wanna do this, but the issue is here. By the way, I'm gonna go back for a second. This is the property, and it's shaded, and so this is from the Shelby County GIS, so you can't actually see the home, but just so people would know where it's at, this is Pine Hill Drive, Old Highway 25, so basically you come up the hill there, and it's about in midways in that down that particular road, so that's where it is at, so for the remediation. Now, as far as the rezoning, before we get into any public discussion, I want to kind of go through what it is that we're gonna be trying to do here. So we've got several different properties that we're looking to rezone from no zoning to residential. This is part of a process that we've had going on in Columbiana and the city for a while, based on advice and guidance from our city attorney. We did not want to have any unzoned or no-zoned property within the city limits. So we do have some properties that were no-zoned and never had been properly zoned, so that's what we're in the process of doing, is cleaning that up. So this is 22-925 Highway 25. This is the rehab facility on Highway 25. If you come on down this way, old 25 runs in to 25 down here. And this is the particular property, the parcel number 216-241-004-002.001. It is currently unzoned, and the plan is to zone it to R1. There is a home, obviously, already. The property is being used for residential, and surrounding property, some of it anyway, is residential. The comprehensive plan for the city does suggest all this property along Highway 25 be residential as far as the future land use. Comprehensive plan obviously is a little out of date, needs to be updated, but it's interesting. There is right along the frontage of Highway 25 there, the comprehensive plan suggests light commercial business along the frontage of Highway 25. However, like I said, all of these properties are that are unzoned already have residences in there, so it doesn't make any sense. And they all have frontages right here on Highway 25, so it wouldn't make any sense for any type of commercial activity there. So that's the first one. This one is basically a vacant lot, doesn't have any structures on it, and it doesn't have an address assigned in the vicinity of Highway 25. It's tax parcel 216-241-001-002.000. Again, it's just north of the one we just spoke of. Again, it's unzoned, and the recommendation is to go to R1. The next one, again, we're just going up the road here, is 23034 Highway 25, parcel number 216-24-1-001-002.003, again, unzoned, and also recommendation to go to R1. We move up the road here. This is 23050 Highway 25. The parcel is 216-24-1-001-002.002. Again, it's unzoned, and we go to R1. And then we have, this is actually two parcels. I highlighted one of them on GIS, and I haven't figured out on GIS how to highlight two, so I had to just put a red border around it. So it's these two parcels. The address is 23200 Highway 25, and again, as you can see, we're just still going up the road here. 216-24-1-001-001.000, and basically the same until we get to 002.00. And these two properties are also not zoned, and the recommendation is to go on. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to skip this right here, because this parcel, this area between Washboard Road and Highway 25 is in the city limits. So a portion of this parcel is in the city limits, and a portion of it is in unincorporated Shelby County. So we've got some work to do on that as to whether or not we either survey this and just bring this. So we're going to skip this one, and we're going to move up to this one. So we're going to skip this one, and we're going to move up to this one, and that's right here, and that's 124 Washboard Road. 204-18-3-001-002.002. It is also unzoned, and recommendations are R1, and you can see that there is a home on that. So those are the properties that are under consideration. So at this time, I'm going to ask, is there anyone in attendance today who would like to speak for the rezoning of these properties, or the zoning, they've never been zoned, to R1? So any of these parcels? Okay, is there anyone in attendance who would like to speak against the rezoning of any of these parcels to R1? If there's no public comment for or against, at this time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Make that motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, so the public hearing is adjourned, and I now reconvene the regular council meeting. So, the first thing that we have to consider on the agenda is a resolution ordering the demolition, subject to a remediation agreement that Ben explained to us, of the property. I can read all this stuff, but I think it would be regurgitating what Ben has already told us. Let's see, is this a two-slide agreement? So here's the actual remediation agreement. Okay, so should this remediation not take place, and demolition would have to be done. So what would happen is a lien would be put on the property, and the assessment of the costs would be recovered via the property owners through the lien. And this is the schedule that we talked about in the public hearing, assuming everything goes according to plan. And this entire project is what was put in the agreement that would be completed by the end of the year. Okay, so is there a recommendation to adopt this resolution for the demolition of the subject property, subject to remediation?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
Do we need a roll call on that? Okay, I ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Mizell?
Yes.
Weston?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, so the resolution has been passed for the demolition subject to the remediation agreement.
I have a question really quick. Okay, so the remediation agreement, we'll sign tomorrow, do I need to just email that back to you?
Yes, so if you'll, if I have the mayor sign, have it tested on behalf of the city, and then if you'll send it to me, I'll make sure that, they get a copy as well. And, then they'll be able to proceed and get the property transferred and get it cleaned up. So,
Okay. Good deal. I will
Thank you,
do
Ms.
that
Raines.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Ms. Raines, for
You.
offering them. Take that over. Appreciate it.
Is there anything else, the council needs from me, or may I be excused?
You may be excused.
Thank you for coming, Ben. Good to see you.
I'm not sure we could stop you, but.
Thanks.
All right. All right, so we have an ordinance for all these rezonings. I am going to read the first one because they're essentially all the same with the exception of the parcel numbers and the property addresses have been
You
changed.
really don't have to read it all unless you just.
I'm just going to go ahead and read this first one. I think it'd be a good idea. So whereas the city of Columbiana has adopted a comprehensive zoning ordinance, and whereas the city property located at, and it'll be different for each one, in Columbiana is currently owned by, and that will change based on each particular one. Whereas after holding a public hearing on the matter, the Columbiana Planning and Commission has recommended that at the request of the city of Columbiana that this parcel be rezoned from no zoning to R1, subject to certain conditions, And the Columbiana City Council has held a public hearing on the commission's recommendation and carefully considered the said recommendation and the comments thereon, of which there were none. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the council of the city of Columbiana as follows. That the zoning district boundaries be amended to rezone the property for each one of those to reflect on R1 on the zoning map of Columbiana, and it'll be different for each particular parcel. So I think we can go with, unless there's an objection from the council, with a single motion to adopt all of these particular tax parcels that we discussed. There are 6 different, it's more than 6 parcels because there's 2 of them on a couple, but there are 6 areas that we are rezoning to R1. So unless there's an objection, I'll entertain a motion to consider all 6.
Make a motion that we consider all 6
Okay.
to be rezoned to
Okay.
R1.
And that would be ordinance Z, is that an O or a 0?
0.
05924, Z05924B, Z05924C, 24D, 24E, 24F. So, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call again?
Councilmember Mizell,
Yes.
Rustin,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes. Okay, so the ordinances have been adopted and the property's been rezoned. All right, so now we'll have, take up any other city business that the council would like to bring up, and I think that Councilwoman King has something she'd like to bring up.
We, the beautification board was given the Tree City USA plaque, and I would like to thank all of the council because y'all are a part of this as well, because y'all give us the money and the ability to let us become a Tree City, and we would like for you to hang this up somewhere in City Hall.
We will. We'll make it in an appropriate place. Some of you were at the little presentation that the Alabama Forestry, the Shelby County Forestry representative, I forget exactly what the title is, Dave Holly, made to the city. We recognized the beautification board at Music on Main last Friday night. Got some really nice banners. There are a couple of street signs that we can put as you're entering into, that they gave us. And we need more than 2, in my
Yes.
opinion. So we need to figure out how we can get identical signs made to the ones at the Forest Service so we can, we suggested that we would initially do Highway 25 and Highway 47 coming into town, but, you know, you come in 2 directions on 25, you're going to come in 2 directions on 47. So I think we need at least 3 more of those signs and maybe 1 to grow on.
And considering the cost too, we'd like to get the nice sign holders, you know, that have like a little decorative at the top so that it's more noticeable.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that. We'll take a look at that
Okay.
and see. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about, but we can certainly look in a catalog and pick one
You're
out.
right.
Okay.
You're saying not on a piece of wood or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, we have like speed, this regular poles that you put a speed limit sign
Yeah,
on.
that's
She
ugly.
Like a
wants something a little bit nicer than that. I'll be honest with you, I was going with those, but that's all right. We can take a look at something else. Is there any other city business anybody would like to bring up?
Oh, I would like to thank everybody that worked, all of the city people that worked from 4 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock the next day for 2 days straight for Liberty Day.
Yep.
I appreciate
That's
you
good.
and all your hard work, and I saw it, whether anybody else saw it or not, I saw it, and your dedication to the town of Columbiana, and it is much appreciated. So thank
It's a
you
good
all.
day, good
Yeah.
2 days.
Okay, any other? All right. By the way, we received, did you see the video from Philip today? So they did a nice video for Liberty Day, so we'll get that.
They'll post
we'll get that posted, and it really turned out nice.
Cool.
All right, Mayor's report. The only thing I wanted to talk about is the Rebuild Alabama Act grant. We got $311,000. I mentioned this at the Music on Main on Friday as well. The good news about that is we only asked for $250, and we got about $61,000 more. And the deal is so here was our $250 request. We had $121,500 and something match. And these are the streets, and there's detail behind all this for each one of the streets that we were going to do. But and I'm not sure the reason, but the state of Alabama decided to pay for half of the match. And so that's where the other, almost 61,000. We're just a smidge under 311. I just rounded off here. But anyway, that's good news. One of these, this one right here, not Lester, East Sterrett Street, we paved it last year, and this does not include all of East Sterrett Street. It's just basically down from Thompson, isn't it? Okay. Because as we went from Thompson to the west towards Main Street, we had similar issues with the base underneath that road that we had on Center Street. But we tried another solution to try to deal with that we hoped would have been more cost effective, but it didn't work. And so we've got where they've been sunk in, and we've got potholes. So we're going to redo East Sterrett Street from basically Thompson Street on down. And I'm not sure exactly if that's where the location is, but that's the general area. So, but the rest of the stuff, again, because of the problem that we had with Center Street last year, we had Goodwin on the schedule last year, but Center cost so much we had to kick that to this year. So we're getting caught back up here, and it's really fortunate that we got the additional funding from the state on this. Any questions on that?
Is Washington going from the high school all the way to the end, or?
Yes, from the intersection all the way around to Phipps Drive.
Okay.
That's why it's, if you look at the price of it compared to the others, it's the biggest ticket item on the list there. Because it's a lengthy stretch of road.
Does this have to be done like before October 1?
No,
No?
not
Okay.
necessarily. We need to get the contracts
Okay.
awarded and the funds obligated because it's the current fiscal year.
Yep.
But we hope to get it done. The challenge is the sooner we can do this, the better. It'd be nice if we could get Washington done before school starts.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Ooh, that's coming up though.
But you know, you're absolutely right. It is. It's going to be.
It's 3 weeks.
It'll be very, very. I don't think it'll
Very
happen. We may have to.
During Christmas holiday or something.
Well, it'll take longer than that to put it out to bid and get the bids.
Yeah, no, I was going to say there's no way it'll happen now that I think about it in 3 weeks.
There's a lot of bad areas in front of the schools.
But
It'll look good.
anyway,
Just in time for pickleball. That's right.
all right.
What do you mean just in time?
We'll
They're
move
already
on
out
here.
there flooding that.
Announcements.
All right, so we have 2 more Sunset Music and Markets left. This Friday is the Goatville String Band.
I like them.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then next Friday is the last one, it is Foolfish. They're local guys, and they're a lot of fun. John Michael Lawley, who owns the pub, it's his dad, and Mike's a great guy. So I hope everybody will come out, it'll be a lot of fun.
So this is John Michael's dad's group?
Yeah,
Oh, they're,
Kingfish.
yeah, so there's a lot of my generation's
There we go.
music.
There we go. Yeah, I think it's been a good mixture of music. I was a guy that I was talking to one night. He's like, this got a little bit of too much beat for me. And then he just mentioned that, and I was like, well, that's good. I think everybody's got a feel of what they like in the last few weeks, so that's good.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments for Alan? Any comments from anyone else? I think all the visitors left.
That's right. Yeah, what they needed to let cut out.
Okay, if there's not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.